Hello, everyone. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast. I'm your host, Chance Bowen, and today we have some interesting news coming out of the Middle East. The terrorist group Israeli government has now struck a hospital twice. Once, then a bunch of reporters and hospital and first responders responded to the strike, and then they struck them again, killing 20, and 5 of them were journalists. This has sparked major outcry from different governments around the world, mostly Europe. 209 former senior EU diplomats called for urgent action, such as sanctions or arm embargoes against Israel in response to the escalating violence. Wow. And then I looked, so I hear this, right? And I go, wow, this is crazy. And then I go on Fox News, or I look on Fox News to see, man, are they covering this? What are they saying about this? What could they possibly say? And they're not even covering it. It's not on the front page. But you know what is on the front page? Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift engagement announcement. Wow. Trump attempts to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lindsey Cook. President Trump announced he had removed Federal Reserve Governor Lindsey Cook, citing alleged mortgage fraud, a move that has raised serious concerns about the independence of the central bank. Cook, who is appointed to the 14-year term, rejected the dismissal and vows to fight back in court. Lawyers are saying that it's procedurally invalid. A few Democrats are like Chuck Schumer and Elizabeth Warren are saying that this is a dangerous precedent for political interference in monetary policy. The Democrats turn really conservative when the president, who's Republican, starts making moves. In the same way that they're doing now, where Trump is going into Chicago and these different cities and he's upholding the law, what we're supposed to be doing, holding the criminals accountable, and they're mad about that, saying that it is an abandonment of our constitutional rights and it's an overstepping of the executive branch. Conservatives, if this was a Democrat president, they would say this is outrageous. But they're not gonna, because they're conservative when it benefits them and not conservative when it doesn't. Pretty simple. There are no conservatives or liberals. They're just politics and helping the people who have money, who give their side money. That's it. Shockwaves in the global markets after Trump's Fed move. Markets are reacting with caution to Trump's attempted firing of Governor Cook's. Investors are increasingly concerned about the central bank overreach, with U.S. stock futures dipping. I don't even, I used to follow the stock market a lot closer. Now I'm kind of just like, I still follow it for obviously my independent stocks that I own and such. But when I see the news on it, I heard, forget what show it was, but this girl had pretty much exposed that during COVID, the Federal Reserve propped up the stock market. What? Like, remember when the Chinese stocks crash on purpose and then they like all of a sudden rise out of nowhere and we're going, man, this is nuts. Their stock market's messed up. They're doing this to make money. Like, we're doing the same exact thing. It's funny. If you watch Fox News and you watch CNN constantly, you're going to come to this conclusion that all these other countries sin, but not us. No, we're civilized. We don't do that. But we do. I actually got in a conversation with somebody today. It's pretty interesting about some of the viewpoints I have. She was a younger gal. She said that she was center to left. But then I went down the line of like stuff that she believed in, and I'm like, man, you actually are pretty much agreeing. You agree with Trump on everything. So then I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. So does Kamala. Like, you agree with everything Kamala says, but you also, like, Trump and Kamala, they're not much different. Like, actually, if you look at it on paper, H-1B visas, criminal illegals out, but other illegals, let them stay. Roe v. Wade, they kind of hold the similar views on that, right? Kamala might be a little bit more pro-abortion, but Trump's still pro-abortion. Let's see, support Ukraine in their war. Yeah, got that. Support Israel, but against the genocide. Kamala and Trump are pretty much exactly the same. It's pretty interesting, actually. Then we got more into a deeper conversation about kind of like what do we base our policy on, right? And what do we base our American policy on? And I was reading some of Friedrich Nietzsche last night, and he was talking about how God has died in the West. You probably heard the quote a million times, and how he was, wrote all his papers on Christianity and how the West was built on Christianity. And if Christianity is not where we get our moral support, then we will pretty much cease to, all the things that Christianity built will crumble. and it's happening today. Some of the things we used to base all of our policy on Christian values. Now, very little do we. One of them being against polyamorous relationships, right? Having multiple wives. Now, apparently, I guess you can have multiple wives. Gay marriage. Bible is specifically against gay marriage, and now we're not. Now we're for gay marriage. Even the Republicans are for gay marriage. No political party today, unless you're far right wing, or I guess, yeah, that's about it, or religious, is against gay marriage. And then they use the excuse, well, it's not, I'm opposed to gay marriage, but politically, I have to be a sinner I have to be okay with sin in order to act politically. Well, that sounds like a coward to me. So, against gay marriage. Now we are for America allows gay marriage. So, what's stopping us then? If it's based on how people feel, who decides how we feel? Well, Hollywood, social media, and our leaders, our so called leaders of this country, are the ones who decide how we feel because our youth comes up, they are manipulated in certain ways, and then they have a feeling that changes over time. And then they vote politicians in who agree with them. And that's what dictates our policy. And so now it's based on not what the Bible says, it's based on how they feel. And then you say, well, no, it's based on science. Like in the case of age, marriage is allowed after the age of 18. I think 16 in some states. So 18 years old. Well, where do we get that number? Does the Bible say 18 years? No, it doesn't. But we get that from science, right? And science says that, you mature at the age of 25, I think now is the consensus. But you sexually mature at like 14 or so. So 18 years old seems to be the age at which we allow marriage to occur. And that's the time that you move out of the house and everything else. So we make these decisions based on how we feel rather than biblical principles. And this has led us to now being allowing gay marriage. So what's stopping us allowing underage marriage? What's stopping us allowing, people to be with animals, right? Think about if someone wanted to marry their cat. Why do we have laws that don't allow them to marry their cat? Why? We used to have laws that didn't allow gay marriages. Now we do because of biblical principles, why they were there in the first place, our Christianity. And now we are abandoning that. So what is stopping us from the slippery slope from going into animals? You think that's crazy. I mean, that's just nuts. The reason why we don't allow people to marry animals is because, well, I mean, don't you just know? I mean, you can just feel it. It's wrong, right? Well, that's how people felt about gay marriage a long time ago, not even that long ago. But now they switched their feeling because our feeling is based on who? The people who run Hollywood and our social media companies and everything else that manipulate our kids to now be totally accepting of gay marriage. And now one day we will probably be accepting of marriages between animals and humans. We're already seeing this movement of kind of like an incel group of furries who are acting like dogs. And, you've had instances where schools are even putting cat litter boxes in bathrooms because they may identify as a cat. They're walking around like dogs on their hands and feet and dressing up like dogs. And you say, well, no, that's just like a video game nerd thing. No, if that becomes the way people feel and we abandon our policies being aligned with biblical principles, then we will one day be watching an interview with a man whose wife is a crocodile. Because, this is the way he feels. He was born attracted to crocodiles. He doesn't decide who he's attracted to. No, he doesn't decide. He just happens to be attracted to crocodiles. So why are you gonna stop him from doing that? I mean, is it any of your business what he does in the privacy of his bedroom? Come on, let the guy live. Let the guy be with a crocodile, right? Who cares about what the crazy Bible thumping Christians say? Well, of course I know all of society today and why America is great and the West is dominant and great and it's good for everyone, women, children alike, weak, old, poor. I know it's good for them, but we don't need to do that anymore because we're better. We're smarter than God. And science tells us that we should base our policy on what scientists say and what people feel. based on who owns Hollywood and our social media companies. This is why we have to re-establish. I was talking earlier today to someone about Friedrich Nietzsche too, and he was talking all this big game about how God's dead, and that's actually what drives you is from internal, and we have to abandon pretty much religious beliefs, go with science, and somehow merge the two in some way, and you'll come to a conclusion that within yourself is God and all this stuff. And I'm oversimplifying his beliefs. I understand he's a great guy, whatever. But, he cried like a baby when he witnessed a horse being killed by a farmer. I think the horse broke his leg or something. And he cried like a baby. You know why he did? Because he was near death. Everyone believes, it's easy to say, you believe in philosophy over Christianity and God's not real and we're going in the dirt and it's going to be black. Let's talk to you on your deathbed or when a close family member or a close friend of yours dies and you feel that. Let's talk to you then and then see you know, how smart your philosophy is. Let's talk to you then. Because when the rubber meets the road, Christianity is dominant. I mean, it's flat out, right? All the societies that have used Christianity to dictate their policy do good. All the ones that don't. I mean, look at it. It's pretty simple. So, anyway, reinstate the church is what I say. That's all for today. This is the Paint the Town Red podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful week.